Hey, losing my headphone. Well, I'm glad you're joining me today. This is my very first live, so don't you all laugh. Don't make fun of me. I'm here to share with you about being a miracle. And because that's me, I'm that miracle. And I just wanted to take the time and let's talk about it because I know that I am not the only person that have gone through things in life. I know there's many more that have gone through tests and trials that you didn't expect to have to go through. So I'm here today because I want to tell you a little bit about it, okay? So let's just take this thing serious and let's have fun, but at the same time understand something about me. I am not a person that takes life as serious as others, but I love to be able to be a blessing. And I love to tell my testimony, and I'm very transparent. So on my Robin Leah Lapsley, my channel, whatever you all want to talk about, express, or go through, I'm here to encourage you because I have experienced so much in my 57 years. And I think so many of us may not be as open to talk about things that you've been through. A lot of times people are kind of scared. A lot of people are just so shy and they're not as transparent. Or sometimes they just don't want people to be all up in their business, right? So my testimony, this is my first actual live that I've ever done on YouTube, but I want to be able to share some things with you because I tell you, y'all would not believe all the stuff that this little girl has been through in 57 years, and especially in the last 20 years. And but I am a miracle. So if you've never seen a miracle, I want you to take a look at me. I am that miracle. And I thank God for making me into a miracle. Didn't feel good, all your miracles and your pain or your suffering, all those things, they don't feel good. But at the same time, you know that He will not allow you to go through a lot of stuff if He didn't love you. If He didn't want you to endure as a good soldier, He wouldn't allow you to go through all of that. God loves us so much that whatever He places upon us, it's not just for us, but it's for us to share with others. And whatever we're comforted with, whatever the things we've gone through in life, that's the same thing He wants me to give back and to comfort you. So this broadcast today, this live today, is just to comfort you. And I know that being the person that I am, I'm not just a, a woman that just look at life. Some people can't handle the tests and trials that they go through. And I'm going to tell you some of mine, and you might be a little floored, but I want you to know how good God is. And I want you to take whatever I have gone through and say that I can make it and I can go through all things through Christ who gives me the strength. I can get through them. I can handle them. They don't phase me, but you gotta be strong enough to know that whatever you're going through, God has got your back. I'm sure you got people that are prayer warriors in your family. You probably have people that may be able at least to give you a word of encouragement or direct you in the area and direction you need to go in. And that's a great thing because we all need some support and a good support system and people that's not going to just be negative about whatever the test you're going through, but that they'll be there to encourage you and to strengthen you and to lift you and to build you up, right? That's the kind of people you want to be bothered with. I don't want nobody to be gloomed and doomed around me because I'm not a gloom and doom type person. So if anybody want to be around me and be in my space, they're going to just have to deal with my faith and my positivity, my love. It just doesn't matter to me because we all have to go through something in life. Exactly right. We all are going through something, especially since last year during this COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of people are not handling it as good as I wish they would. You have some people that are really struggling as they're going through this, change of life, and you never thought that I would have to go through all of this. Why are we having to go through all of this? But everything, nothing just happens. I always tell people, whatever we go through, nothing just happens. It happens for a purpose, be it to bring your family together and to love on each other and to grow with each other. There's a purpose for all things, right? There is a purpose for all things. Yes. And so God never makes mistakes. He never just do stuff just to do stuff, but he does things that you can grow and that you can be a success, that you can then have the time. I took advantage of this pandemic because I just felt like it's been a blessing to calm down, to relax my mind, because I'm like this. I'm a person just always doing something. So this has caused me to calm myself down, chill out, reflect, love on my children and my grandkids and my husband and just in the church. I mean, it was just you need that time, and I believe God allowed it because our lives become so busy, busy and more busy. So now I'm off of that. But let me tell you some things, because I hope and pray whatever you hear from me today that you will change your thinking. I know some people say change your stinking thinking, but I really want you to be able to grow and to see that somebody else may be worse off than you, um, that someone else may not be able to handle what you are going through or what you have been going through, right? So let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm Robin Leah Lapsley, and I have gone through different trials in my life. I'll start out with the one thing. I was anorexic and bulimic from the age of 9 until about 26. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't share it with anyone. I didn't talk about it. I hid things because I just didn't want everything to be seen or for folks to know that's what I did. I was anorexic and bulimic. And I didn't even know there was a name. I just realized growing up with a grandmother and a grandfather who had gardens in the front of that, across the street on 2 3 lots, and then all in the backyard they had grew peach trees. This is the funny part about it. My grandma and they bought a house that had a pool in the backyard, in ground pool. My I'm in the house now, and when they came here and purchased this house, them being the country people that they were, took the pool. We were so excited. We said, "We got a pool! Yes, we got a pool!" And let me tell you, when they made their mind up to do gardens and things like that, we had no clue that they were going to do something with the pool. We were like what, 7 and 8 and 5, maybe 5 years old, 7 and 8. We never thought that they would do what they did. Let me tell you, my grandma and them did. They ended up having all this dirt being brought into the backyard and over across the street on those lots that were back then. Now they have houses. Well, they had the pool filled up. Yes, they did. They filled the pool up with all of that dirt and leveled it off. So if you see the house next door, which is our other house, you could tell how high, much higher it is from where it was at the beginning, from where they had put all that dirt back there. And it was just so, we come in, we're looking and we was like, where is the pool? Not understanding their logic as being older, older people, although they weren't old, they was like what, in their 30s, 40s, um, and we're being little kids, but to realize that they had filled the in-ground pool up with dirt. And so after they did all that, we couldn't get too much. She said, "Y'all not gonna be swimming in that pool, you'll drown." And but then what they did was they planted a peach tree on it. They had strawberry patches. They had every type of vegetable that you can imagine. Potatoes and squash and corn and all this. So I didn't grow up with all of this, as a child until my grandmother then moved here. And but we had did have an apple tree in our backyard. But it was just such a strange thing for me to see, that they took two lots and made they took the two lots across the street, one, two, maybe three, and made that into an entire garden. And then in the backyard, and even had food growing around the sides of the house. Um, but I'm telling you, we're never hungry. We, I learned how to can because my grandmother canned stuff. She cooked every day. She had um, two refrigerators and a freezer uprights in the house. Now, the funny part is I got two side by side refrigerators in this house. It's kind of comical, but um, but we but in that day and time, you learn how. Uh, you learn how to do things because now you don't get a lot of young folks that will even have a garden. Everybody goes and eat out. They do all of this. They do all of that. And so when you see things today and you see what people having a hard time, I believe, beyond a shadow of doubt, it's a way that God is wanting people to get back to that life, and that is to have your do your gardens, do your eat healthier, because when you think about it, a lot of people don't eat healthy because most of them will go into fast foods, they'll do all this other stuff. So he's giving people now this opportunity to kind of change up their eating habits and to do right. And so that's what I really believe that God is trying to tell people during this pandemic as well. Start eating healthier. Begin to maybe start doing your gardens. Um, Focus on those things that can heal the body because your vegetables and your fruits heals your body. It heals it from the inside out. That's why a lot of people doing plant-based diet, becoming vegetarians, becoming vegans, they're because they're trying to heal their bodies. And so that's what, one great thing is growing up. But I remember when my um she was like my aunt, cousin aunt. And we were both around. Was 6 months older than her. Well, when they came here, she was overweight even as a little child, and I wasn't. And but because my mother, we ate healthy stuff all the time. We didn't have a lot of junk. We wasn't no wealthy family, you know. Um, you wouldn't think that we didn't have much because our mother, she would make sure we had clean shoes. She made sure that we had food on her stomach, and she sometimes didn't even eat because she wanted to make sure her six children had eaten and are full. That's the kind of mother that we had, and we appreciate her. We thank God for her, although my mother's no longer with us, and you'll hear a little bit about that in a little bit. And but you learn. I end up learning the wrong way of eating at such a young age, but I didn't know it was wrong. I didn't know that I was eating in a bad manner. I didn't that, or I was because I did. I found myself not wanting to um, eat a lot of food, and my grandmother, being the type of cook that she was, her and granddaddy, had all this food, and you like if I come over and stay on the weekend with them, it would be like this is how she would cook. You have sausage, that thick bacon. She would make biscuits, toast. You'd have a little glass of orange juice or some tang. Then you have your eggs. She would have fried corn, fried potatoes. What else? And then you had your tablespoon. You had a tablespoon of castor oil and cod liver oil, and then you had to do your vitamin. This sitting at the breakfast or the tables with my grandmother. That's how she cooked, and so she was wanting and expecting us to eat. This is two little girls, so we sitting there and I look at that food and I'm going like, I knew because I knew I didn't eat like that, and there's certain stuff I didn't eat, and because my mother we ate oatmeal and stuff like that, beans and cornbread. We didn't have eat a lot of that kind of stuff. And I remember it was like, I'm like, I cannot eat all of that stuff. There's no way. I can eat all of that stuff. But I tried to eat as much as I could eat. I love the fried corn. I know how to make it to this day. But I didn't mind eating the fried corn. You know, they had the salt and the pepper and the but then she used like the bacon fat and a little bit of flour to thicken it up. And but I just it just did something to me to realize, am I supposed to eat all of this? My face is so full. You know why my face is so full? Because, and I'm going to go back to that, because I had COVID a couple weeks, about 3 weeks ago. And thank God it didn't affect me as others. I had more mild symptoms. I lost my taste and I lost my smell, and got a little nauseous every now and again. And then I just laid down and rest, as they, told you. Then I did the infusion um, to get the antibodies into my body, But but I had lost, I lost extra weight. But then so this week I've been eating too much. I've been like eggs and stuff like that, just trying to build my strength back up. And I was doing, look, I got the double chin. Don't be laughing at me, y'all. But I'm a bloop loop right now. But you know what? When I see my face, I realize I have got to not eat that sodium. Because I had like a couple of this turkey bacon. I just went kind of overboard because that's, it doesn't have a lot of sodium in it. But at the same time, I gotta watch, you know. Uh, I try to stay way, way under 2,000 milligrams of sodium a day. But anyway, let me get back to that. But I got to do something with this. Um, so anyway, because I got to the point I didn't want to eat a lot of it when I would go to my granny's. So she just cooked like that. She would cook chicken. She would cook all kind of, older people. They just don't know how to feed two, three, four people. It's like she just made a bunch of stuff. And then I really found made my mind think differently. Um, that I just got to the point to where I said, okay, I cannot eat that way. And I just would go to her. We had like two poodles, and it was a little bit and Jimmy were their names, one black one and one white poodle. And I remember, um, I just no, it was one brown and one black. And I remember I kept, you would not wait till my grandmother get up from the table, and I would just eat little bits and pieces. I give it to my cousin aunt who was sitting, near me. And I was like, you want this? You want that? You want this? Baby? Can you have that? I want that. I don't know. I'm not hungry. When she was already a little thick, a little chubby little girl. And I would just give her my food, or I'll throw stuff to the dogs under the table. And grandma would come in there and she'd be like, Jeanette, you need to eat just like Robin. She didn't eat all her food. You need her. You better eat all that food. She didn't know I was giving her my food. I would just eat maybe one piece of bacon. That thick bacon, all I could taste was just fat. Or I might do like a piece of a sausage, and it just got, as the years went on, I just began to have a worse eating habit, and a worse eating habit, because then I didn't want to eat, or I would come and I would act like I already ate at mom's. I ate my mama's and my house, and she said, well, there's something in there, but I didn't mind that. I'll get some, I'll eat a peach, and I'll eat like, she always liked watermelon. I'll do watermelon. um, but it was just the fact of having, I knew how I felt even then when you eat stuff that's not good for you, when you're used to eating healthy. And, or, yeah, healthy. Because we always had some food. Might not be what we would want maybe today, but we had food, because chicken back then, chicken was a luxury meat. So when you got you some chicken, it was like, yes, got me some chicken. But we got chicken on Sunday. Yeah, we got chicken, y'all. Because that's just how it was back then. And but I began to notice as I got older and older, and I wish I could show some pictures on it. No, not, I should have found some. Um, but I was really, really thin. And I didn't know I was thin until I look back and I see that I was small compared to a lot of friends and kids that we played with or came up to our house and stuff. And but I just knew I just was not always hungry. And, or I just would deny I was hungry. So, though that's one situation I had, and even when I was had babies, I didn't want to have but one child because I didn't want to have to eat. And I didn't want to keep. I wanted three children, but then I knew my eating habits. I didn't know if my babies would come out too small, because I just it was just a struggle to eat. And but I would try to eat stuff without regurgitating because I could tell, um, when I was hungry, my stomach would cramp, and so I would make myself eat something. And I don't know how many young people out there that may be going through this today, that you may have a bad eating habit, and you just don't know really what it is. Because I didn't know anything about anorexic and bulimic. I don't even know if it was known back then. But I just want to encourage you. You can get through it, and because I dealt with that, took a lot of laxatives and diet pills. I was trying to do anything I could to take the cravings away for food. Um, then I got pregnant with my twins about almost 3 years after our first son, and then I knew that was going to be struggle because I found out I was having twins when I was only 2.5 months pregnant. So she thought either you're gonna have a big baby or you're gonna have twins. And I said, probably just a big baby. And because I was tiny, little, real little, like you see me, I was like this. But when I turn around sideways, my belly was way out here. And but I struggled. It was hard to eat with my twins. Now my oldest son, I got up to went from 23 to 163. I gained like 40 pounds. And then I had lost it all after, he came. And then when I got when I got pregnant with the twins, I was, I think, 130, 129, 130. I didn't gain any weight. And my doctor was so concerned because all I had was belly. And he said, if you don't gain any weight, you're going to have some scrawny babies. And and I said, I'm trying to eat, which I really tried to eat, but I really couldn't eat because I was sick with them the whole time. I was regurgitating every day, just sick. And so I didn't have that. I didn't have even a desire to really eat. So I would just drink a lot of fluids and stuff like that. And thank God when they were born, they came a month early, which is normal for multiple births, and they came early. And they were big. It's like one was 5'3", one was 4'11", because her oldest brother was 6'3", 6 pounds and 3 ounces. But I understood, and but after I had them, um, I was still struggling, and was still small, and my doctor said, you haven't gained an ounce through this whole pregnancy, this multiple birth. He said, well, because you may be about 2, 3 pounds overweight, 6 pounds over. He said, they'll get that, and hopefully, that's what he said. Hopefully, they'll get that weight. And to him, I was, 6 pounds. I mean, I don't get it because I was that little, how I'm overweight. And I mean, I'm 5'3". But he said, because you can still be like a 119 or something like that. He said, I'm like, 119, I've been like 160 or anything like that since middle school. But I just realized how serious it became when you get to the point to where you can be out, you can be at a restaurant, or you can be at an amusement park. This is how bad you know you are if you're bulimic or anorexic. I would always carry a toothbrush and toothpaste with me. So if I ate anywhere, I could go into the restroom and I can cause myself, make myself. I watched what I ate because the less I ate, the less I had to regurgitate or self regurgitate. And I would like try to keep it right here. And I would go and do it. And I knew I had it bad when I was about 20 something. When we were at one of our amusement park in our area, I went into the bathroom after eating a slice of pizza because my sister, older sister, who's now not with us, she was watching. Girl, you better eat it. All this stuff right here. You better eat it. I said, okay, I'm gonna eat something. So but I was trying not to eat something, and I was like I was the kids, the baby. I'm doing so much, help with the babies that I wasn't. I was trying to let that distract me. So I was like, I'll just get something to drink. That's good enough. And but what happened was the I ate that piece of pizza and then I went into the bathroom immediately after I ate it. Didn't give it time to digest. I just I have to go to the restroom. I'll be right back. And so when I did that, you go in a public place like that. It was like, oh gosh. And I remember that carrying my toothbrush and I hid it. And I went into that restroom and I put my tooth in, the end of my toothbrush in my throat. And I began to just push it further back into my throat till I got that regurgitated a few minutes. And to get that out of my system. And then after that, I went to the sink. I brushed my teeth like it was nothing. And then I went back out. And they said, "Girl, you been at bathroom forever?" I said, "No, I didn't. I just brushed my teeth." And they were like, "What?" And but they didn't know about what I was doing. And so that time is when I realized, girl, you got issues. You got some issues. And I remember 20 something years old, I went to the library and I pulled out. For the first time, I looked for some books on anorexic and bulimia. I wanted to know about it. And so that's what I did. I found out about the anorexic and bulimia. And and I had the books and I forgot to put the books up, in the mattress or hide them one day. And I accidentally dealing with the babies, things like that. I was a stay-at-home mom most of the time, and doing little businesses. I did fashion design. I did, you just do little stuff. Um, and I remember um, coming home and my husband found my books I left out. He's, what's this about? And I was like, oh, I was just reading. I was studying up on that, kind of try to discuss some things with the young folks, how they avoid and watch what they eat and don't go this far in this extreme. He really believed me because I was small. And I wasn't like skin and bones as you see a lot of. And the Rex I was skinny enough. I was fat. But and so he was like, um, he said, okay. And I said to him, I said, yeah, I've just been wanting to just have a study and see what, um, just to kind of pay attention, just so I won't, go through anything, and I want to be able to teach them well. I'm trying to find a picture of me when I was skinny. Let me see. But while I'm looking, I'll still talk. And I remember one time going down the steps. I was going down the steps one evening and almost fell because I was so weak. And he said, "No, you're going to the hospital. You got to go to the hospital." He said, "You're really weak. I'm gonna take you to the hospital and get you out there and see what's going on." So when I got out there, um, hesitantly, the doctor said, he said, "How are you feeling?" I said, "I'm feeling fine." And then he said, and then that's when I don't think she's eating, and I think she's just weak. she just, I saw found some books and where she was reading up on anorexic and bulimia, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at him like, telling all that. And, but then he told me, he said, your electrolytes and stuff are very low. Um, he said, you have got to eat. He said, do you not realize you know, you can go into cardiac arrest. You can do, trying to make me feel scared, I guess. And he said, there's a lot of things can take place if you don't eat. And I said, I know, I get it. And he said, you got to do this because your hormones go up and down and it'll affect you. And I said, okay. He said, but if you don't eat anything, we'll make you stay in the hospital. We'll just have to force feed you. I said, I don't eat all that. And I said, he said, well, here's some crackers. He said, you can't leave the hospital until you eat these crackers. They're like graham crackers. And I was like, because when you don't eat, when you eat something later, it makes your stomach hurt a little bit. And I was more like, oh man, I don't feel like eating this mess, these crackers. And because I didn't have an appetite. So if you don't eat a lot of food, like if you fast 3 days, whatever, you find yourself not having an appetite, and you also find your stomach shrinks and all that, and it's a struggle to try to eat. And but anyway, I ate them cookies, those crackers. I wanted to get up out. I ate about two of them. That was enough. And I remember maybe about, I still struggled. I even went to a psychiatrist to try to deal with why I'm not eating. It was just like it. I was always like that. It wasn't no big deal. And then a few years I've already had my kids, and I remember I was about 32, if I'm not mistaken. I started forming fibroids, and so at that time, my doctor was saying, he said, you have got to eat because you're messing up your hormones. And he said, so what it's done over these years is messing up your cycle and things like that. And so I told him, I said, okay. He said, if you don't eat, he said, you're going to be, sick. You're not going to be able to accomplish a lot. And this is how small I was. And when I was in high school, I don't know if you can see, it's hard to see it, but this was me then. Um, um, you might think I'm looking thick, but and that was me as well. I think my high school, 10th, maybe 11th. Um, but uh, but I ended up having to get. I'm just trying to jump around. So I had the fibroids and stuff, and he tried to do everything he could for 10 months without resulting to where what we had ended up doing. I had ended up having a hysterectomy. So young girls, eat something. Don't allow your hormones to go out of whack, because if you end up having issues like I did from forming fibroids and stuff like that, you can end up maybe causing yourself to have a hysterectomy. And if you never had children or anything like that, then that can end up really hurting your life because you would want to have a kid. It's a struggle. I understand it's a struggle. I did nine from 9 to 26 years old. So I understand the struggle. But I want you to avoid having to deal with that. And so that's why I'm trying to share this with you all, because this is so important to watch your body. And that's one of the things God allowed me to endure um, as a young person, because I had that issue. I just didn't want to be fat. Now I'm like 216 pounds, trying to get to 147 or one, well, close to, I don't mind doing 160 because I have a lot of muscle mass, but I definitely want to work down. I don't want to get as small as I was, but maybe about 140, 45. but because I'll still be too small. My doctors don't want me to do that, go that far. But um, that's a miracle when your doctors don't want you to get less than. But because I have muscle mass too, so I just want to encourage you all, just to kind of get help if you're having trouble with your hormones. So if you haven't, I mean, with your eating habits, change your eating habits so you can feel better, stay healthy, and not cause your body to go out of whack. Okay. Um, and then that was me at the 9. Let me tell you something too. I know my family, whoever would listen to this, I'm gonna tell y'all also. I sucked my thumb. Oh, yeah. This is the cousin aunt, and we were young. This is her right there. See how chubby she is, and I felt like, man, did I contribute to that? Her weight, which I did, somewhat. She was always chubby because my grandmother, older people always felt like you got to eat everything on your plate. Don't you leave none. And my grandmother used to always say to me, she said, "You need some meat on your bones." But I couldn't eat like that. I just couldn't do it. Just didn't have it in me. Um, but I'm gonna tell you, um, as a girl, I used to suck my thumb. I used to suck my right thumb, and I sucked it up until the age of 13. And you sit there and you're like, I have a sister who still suck her thumb. I have a nephew who suck his finger. But I used to go and just suck, just play with my nose and just suck my thumb. Well, but I worked in the gardens. I liked to, play in the mud and in the yard and do all this stuff. And I'm telling you, young and old people, I don't know who else has experienced this. I tell you, my life is funny. I am a miracle. But because you ain't hear about the miracles that God have done yet. But I'm gonna tell you, my I was out playing, in the yard all the time, in the dirt, in the gardens, and didn't really wash my hands in between. I just put my thumb back, I wipe it off on my shirt, and I put it back in my mouth. Well, one day we were all playing hide and seek in some apartments that were Memphis Garrison, Tennessee's apartment. A wonderful, historian, wonderful woman in our community. And so where her steps were hidden, so we would play hide and seek, and we go hide around her little wrap around steps. Well, one day I did that. And y'all can laugh if you want to. I don't care because I don't care. I'm transparent. I'm stupid sometimes. Don't forget me. You didn't make me stupid. I'm silly sometimes. But well, so I kept. You know how you think if you have a like lint or something, your in your feel like it's going in your crack of your behind. I kept pulling, so I thought it was lint, and I'm still trying to hide, and then I kept trying to pull it. So I said, 1 minute, I said, so I time. I'll be right back. I gotta go to the bathroom. So I ran into the house, ran up the steps, went to the bathroom, and when I sat on the toilet, I could still feel like that lint. Well, you know, I'm like, why am I still feeling lint? So I pulled the thinking it was, lint. And when I did that, it was like a night crawler about this long. I'm not lying, y'all. Was what was coming out my behind. So I don't know anybody that has had like I say I used to have pinworms, um, and 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 stuff too. So my mother had to get medication. I'm saying this because y'all better watch y'all's children. Make sure they clean their hands. Make sure they take care of themselves because these things happened to me as a child. And yes, I mean it was literally nightcrawler. I'm serious. It was about this long, at least about that long. And it had when I pulled the last time to pull it, it slung around my hand like that. And I said, I was screaming. I was screaming, grandma, grandma, oh my god, grandma. And so she flying coming up the steps. And I said, that was because when I didn't throw it in the toilet, I threw it out my hand and it flipped over to the table area. And I said, and she said, what? And she said, where is it at? So, and I said, right there. Oh, oh, where is it? And so she went and got a shoebox. And she put the night crawler in the shoebox, y'all. She put it in the shoebox. And we went to the hospital. So she told, contact my mom. She said, well, I'm taking her out to the hospital because she had a night crawler. She said, she said, but I don't think that night crawler came out of her. Well, whatever did, I know what came out. And so we did. We got to the hospital and the mom come out there. She saw that. She said, oh my God. And the doctor, when he came in, he said, I'm gonna give you penicillin. He said, so to break up anything else, any other, you know, if there are any more in there, he said, do you wash your hands really good after you're playing in the dirt? And I said, no, I wipe it on my clothes and put my, because I suck my thumb. And he said, He said, because when you're playing in the dirt, there are eggs, that it's underneath the dirt that, worms come right up out. Let it rain, the worms come right out that dirt. And he said, so what it did over the years, over the course of the time that you've been sucking your thumb, he said you ingested, those an egg or something. And I said, what? He said, so you need to stop sucking your thumb. And he said, because it'll come back. You'll get another one. He said, well, but I'm gonna give you this prescription, Mom, for her to take, and it'll chop up and kill any extra parasites or worms that's in her system. And but the strange thing, see, I've had worms that came maybe two different times, and but did not connect it. So can you imagine a worm? I mean, an earthworm, not a tapeworm. It was an earthworm, a night crawler that they used to fish with, but it was at least about 8, 9 inches, and that was the that was the last time I ever sucked my thumb. People tried to put hot sauce on my thumb, cod liver on castor oil, which I like that stuff. I mean, they were doing everything to help me stop sucking my thumb. It took a night crawler to make me stop sucking my thumb. Isn't that crazy? A night crawler. That night was the last night I ever put this thumb in my mouth. Broke it just like that. Because somebody tell you a story like that you can get a worm or a night crawler again, I ain't sucking that thumb. No, because I know I'm gonna keep playing in the dirt, and so I mean, it was awful, and so that's them childhood stories. So kids, y'all better parents, you better make sure your children wash their hands really good. Get all that dirt from underneath their nails because you could possibly have a worm growing in them or have little teeny white little pinworms. And they were so irritating because they were always, you could just feel like, as soon as you sit at, you could feel all them little worms just trying to, like, crawl around on around your little rectum area. And my mother, sometimes we was in church one time and she said, I hate snakes and I hate worms. She said, but my baby, I am not going to let you suffer. And I'll have to bend over while she's still trying to, give them. Then it's like you go back in her, Mom, I think I feel some more. And so, can you imagine having all them worms? Then you got to go to the doctor, and they got to give you some more penicillin, and then some more. And it was like, and some other kind of medicine. It was like chalky, like, and it was awful. But it killed them, you know. So I went through that twice before the worm, before the night crawler. So y'all better make sure y'all clean your hands. Make sure your kids clean. I'm like with my grandkids. No. Come on, let's go wash your hands. Got a little nail brush thing, and I take a little nail brush thing and clean their hands, their nails, and because I just don't. They don't suck their thumbs or anything. But just imagine, 13 years old, I stopped sucking that thumb. Um, and so sometimes you look at your life and it's kind of funny, but then at the same time, it's like what? But I'm trying to go through my timeline because if when you're looking at me, if you've never seen a miracle, just look at me. I am a miracle, and I'm gonna tell you why. Not because that was little things, but let me tell you about in the Let me see. Let me where to start. Okay. I think it was 2000, 2000. I think 2001 perhaps. This is one of the first miracles. My son and I and his ex-wife went to Lexington because he was going up there to play the drums with his cousin and just to visit because the cousin already played for them and Jason would go up there sometimes. So this time we were coming, it was windy. It even had a sign said crosswinds at certain spots, but it was so windy and that the van was rocking, just going. So we drove, really slow to get there because you could just it was like just the strongest winds I've ever experienced. And Lexington is about approximately about an hour, almost 2 hours. I think we made it about an hour and a half, but it's about 2 hours from where we are. And I remember we had a great time in that service. I mean, the service was high. We were blessed. It was an anointing. I mean, it was just something in the difference because I have never been there, and I just needed to get away. I was in beauty school, and I was just tired. My brain was tired of all that studying, and so I just needed to do something different. And so when we were on our way back, I drove going up, and my son said, "Well, Mom, I'll drive coming back." And I said, "Okay, thank the Lord." And because I was really tired, beauty school wore me out, and so I was just really exhausted. And let me tell you, we were coming back around, um, coming back down. I think we hit Moorhead because I mean, even and I had fell asleep. I was so tired. And I just told him, I said, "Well, Jason, just take your time. We're not in any hurry." I said, "We're not rushing. The winds are heavy and strong. So just take your time." Which he said, "Oh, yeah, Mom, I'm definitely doing that. I'm definitely doing that." And I was out. I took off my seatbelt. I had my head in the window on his leather jacket, and his girlfriend at the time was in the front, and he in one seat. He was in the other one in the front. He was driving. She was in the front passenger seat. So it was just the two of us. And I started to ask other people to go with us, my sons, my godson, and all that. And just something said, "Well, no, just don't, you know." And the twins said, "I don't go. I don't feel like going." And so I was out. I was just tired. And I remember I heard my son say, "Jesus." And that was all I could remember. And I didn't think of anything. I was still thinking I was in church, you all. I thought when I was doing all this, I was just praising the Lord. I was in that kind of a deep sleep that I thought I was just praising God. I was still in church. And then I heard just complete silence. We were close to Moorhead, I think, and Moorhead, Kentucky. And I remember I just heard just complete silence. And I was just still, like this in the seat. I was not in, I wasn't in the window like I was at first with this, but I was in the seat. And my son said, "Mom, Mom, 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 are you okay, Mom?" But I didn't think he was talking to me like that. And because I was still out. So apparently I had a concussion. And then I heard him say, "Mom, Mom, please, Mom, wake up, Mom. You hear me, Mom? Can you help? Mom, can you help unfasten Tia, I mean Kim?" And so I said, "Huh?" And then it was like when I realized that the van had flipped over. So we were on our side, on the right side, on the ground, and my feet are sitting on the concrete. I'm in the bench seat in the because it was 3 rows. So I'm in the middle seat. And I remember when I looked down and realized, whoa, I said, "Oh my God, what happened?" And he said, "Mom, can you just unfasten me? Can you unfasten me?" And then I could hear her kind of crying, "Oh." And so I got his. So I'm bending up trying to unfasten his seatbelt while he's holding her up, you know. And then it dawned on me we were in a car accident, a serious car accident. And then what happened was her arm was under like the top of the roof and my feet. So I had to get my feet out from under, to get me from under pin from where the roof part is. And he was able to unfasten her. And I kept saying, and I kept saying, wait a minute. I said, oh God, I said, I got, how am I supposed to, how can I help her? I got to help her. Lord, help me, direct me, show me what to do. And it was like supernaturally, God had me to bend over while I was standing up. And I don't know where the strength came from, but he gave me a supernatural strength. I had lift up we had the roof. That roof part was where our feet were on the ground, and I just lifted that. Don't know how. It was just enough for her to come get herself loose, and me to slide my foot from out. And I didn't have any clue what was really going on. And I said, my God, I said, Jason, what happened? He said, oh. And I had our phone, cell phone. And he said, Mom, I don't know. It's like just a strong wind just came up under the van. And he said, I was trying to keep from going into, like, there was the median over here. It was a grassy area, but then there was the bridge. Had he stayed in the median, we would have went out under the bridge onto the ground, or I think it was a railroad track or something underneath. Had he not, and he said it was just something. He said when I hollered Jesus, he said something just took the steering wheel, moved it to the interstate. Now we on the interstate I-64. Never do you not have a lot of traffic coming. Always traffic coming from Lexington, Kentucky, all over the place. And this is on a Sunday too. That was God. And when we were in, so what I did, my little tomboy self, I climbed out of the window here. All the windows were busted out. My husband had tools in the back of the van. So if you ever need he need to change a flat or need to do something, they're back. They were scattered all over the highway. I remember my phone, my purse, my Bible, and everything. Cause I climbed out of the van window, and because then I could hear people, "Are you all right? Are you all okay? Are you all right?" And the truck driver, and when before they came over, I was like, "Oh no, I gotta get my purse and my phone and my Bible." So I climbed back in head first to get the phone, my purse, and my Bible. I grabbed the Bible and all the stuff and my purse, and I had my hair like this. Don't y'all laugh. But when I climbed back out, Jason and you know Kim at the time, he over there comforting her on the side of the guardrail. Forgot all about his mama. But because I went back in there, and so I came and I walked back once went in and got my stuff out, and I was trying to call my husband to tell him what was going on. And then Jason and I haven't talked to him. I mean, then it all dawned on me, and my neck was killing me, and I was just so exhausted. But I didn't realize that I had about a cut this big, um, near on my thigh, and then I realized he had like some scissors, yard scissors, and it might have been would have sliced my leg, and that flew around. And so when we heard other people coming towards us, I remember this black pastor had, because by that time I just collapsed on the gravel, and just was going in and out. And so the funny part was, some one of them picked up. They said, "What is this? What is this right here?" Well, my ponytail came off, so I had that long little braid, and it was laying out there on the on the highway. So it's like, what is this? Anybody know? And so my son said, "Oh, that's my mom's ponytail." He said, "That's her ponytail." It was because it looked. So I had just my little bun, and so, but it was funny. And he said, "Oh, it's my mom's ponytail." And so I didn't care about that ponytail. My neck was hurting, and my leg was bleeding. I felt flushed and probably from losing blood and stuff. And so, and they were fine. They ain't never scratch on them. Praise God. And I remember this. I remember the black pastor came towards us and said, "Are you all right? Are y'all okay?" And people had stopped. They said they saw it was like they were describing how the van was like the winds, because we got right over in that section where the crosswinds from between the mountains, and they said it was like they just saw like the van was just flip move, and they could see the van rocking, and it was just they said it flipped about 5 times. The car just flipped about 5 times. Did God protected and shielded us? That we didn't go over the other guard over the mountain, the bridge part on the opposite side either. And so the guy that was driving the 18 wheeler, he said, "Oh my God," he said, I said, "God, they're gonna hit me. Oh Lord, they're gonna," and because he said the way the wind shifted, and he said he barely missed us, and he said, and by that time he said it was like something just said, shoo, up under the van. And Jason, in that time, he said, "Jesus." And he said that's what it guided him to put it back onto the highway, the van on the highway. And that's when they said it just flipped. It just kept flipping. That's when at that point I thought I was just praising God. I didn't realize what was going on. And I was thinking I was still in church, just praising the Lord. And, um, and the amazing thing was, one lady, white lady, she was a nurse. The black pastor came and prayed for us, and my son contacted my husband. So my husband and my brother-in-law, Bishop Bridie, they all came up to, had to drive up that way to help us and to pick us up. And they were saying, they were saying, wait a minute, there was more. There was one more person, and where are they? And then we were like, no, it's just the three of us. It was just three of us that were in the fit. And then that nurse, she was like, no, no, I saw it was like another one. Another person was in there. And she was looking around trying to figure, did they go over did they get thrown out? They get thrown out the van. We was like, ma'am, it was just, this just us. And we kept saying, no, it was just us. And that pastor, but he said, no, I said, there was somebody else in there. And then it dawned on me that God sent an angel unaware that they thought was in that van with us, but it wasn't with us. I mean, it wasn't in another person, but God sent an angel to guide it. And then when they were describing how the van was like somebody was shifting it real slow, and it was just turning real gentle, and it was just, they said we never see it was like as if something was guiding the direction that van was flipping, but it was real graceful. And um and i and i said that was nobody but God. Because God gives you a host of angels that surrounds each of us, and they protect you. So you can imagine picturing those angels just shifting that, holding it, like, just tossing it to be very gentle on how we flipped and how we landed and everything. And that's why serving, that was a miracle. I was the only one without a seatbelt. I'm the one with my head leaning on the window. God didn't allow me to fly out that window. He didn't allow me to be killed. I might got a little scratch, a cut on my leg, and had mild concussion and whiplash, but he kept me. He he kept my son safe. His ex girlfriend then, and myself. God kept me, but God allowed our children and my godson not to go with us. Because had they gone with us, that would have been an opportunity for the devil to try to take their life. Because they would not have made it the way that van was totaled. They would have flown out windows. I give God the praise every day just for protecting, just for protecting us and giving our children the wisdom enough to say, no, I'm not going to go, Ma. We don't want to go all the way up there. And I thank God to this day for keeping our children and keeping, them from not wanting to go with us. And that's one incident. Let me tell you about another issue. It would seem like the enemy it was like he just always wanted me to be in a car. Because one thing I've discovered that when you're a praying mother and you seek after God and you gave your children back to God, that He would use them according to His glory, that He can use them through their gifts and talents, use them in ministry, use them in every activity they're a part of, that they will succeed in anything they put their hands and their mind to do. I thank God every day that He's covering them with His blood. Y'all better pray over your children. Pray over them. Let me tell you another incident. So, a lot of times people don't understand if the devil can't, if he can't get to your children, he gonna get to you. If he can't touch your children because you're praying for your kids, God cover them, protect them, shield them from all hurt, harm, or danger. Keep a hedge of protection around them. Cover them. Keep the angels surrounding about them everywhere they go. When you pray over your children and God protects your children, it's like then the devil get mad. He be like, well, if I can't get to your kids, then I'm gonna come after you. And that's what he does. He will target whoever he can to try to break you, to keep you off your knees, keep you away from your relationship with God, keep you from praying for your family, keep you from prospering or being of good success, even as you're so prospering. So his job and his whole plan is to kill, try to steal from you, and try to destroy. But God gave us life and that more abundantly. So any trick that comes up, any issue that comes up in your life, it's God saying, take it in stride and have joy in your tribulations, even when they hurt, even when you can't understand what you got to learn from it, but just trust Him because He doesn't make mistakes. Before you were placed into your mother's womb, He knew you. Before you came into this earth, or before your father, your mother's seed and sperm and eggs came together, God already knew you. He already knew what you were going to go through. He already knew what you're going to be touched with. He already knew the tests and trials that was going to come up in your life. He already knew that moment, that second of that day. He's all-knowing God. He's an all-knowing God. He knew all of these things when we don't even know what we get ready to be touched with. Isn't that enough to praise Him? So if He already knows, then that means He made a way of escape for you. That means He's already had a plan for your life. If He can bring you through that, and if He can let you go through it, you think God is going to just let you suffer and not allow you to deal with it or have a way of escape or make things happen for you? Yes, He will. Yes, He will. Let me tell you this other miracle story in my life. And I got a lot of them to be so young. But this story right here, and this is 2002. I finished beauty school, and at this time, I was in preparation to open up my very first beauty salon. And in the process of getting ready to open my beauty salon, um, whew, I think about things like this of God's goodness, His mercy. It endures forever. And sometimes when you don't even deserve it, His goodness and His mercy endured forever. I'm going to come back with another live stream in a little bit. And then I'm going to go into this part of what happened from a 2002 car accident. So if you've never seen a miracle, just look at me. You wait. The miracles, you're gonna hear about some great miracles pretty soon. And I'm gonna come back with this other live stream, and you're gonna be blessed by the by way how God works things out and how He deals with things. So let's talk about it. Robin Lynn Lapsley, and I'll be back. I am that miracle. You're looking at one, a supernatural miracle. A supernatural miracle. But stay tuned. I'm coming back. I'll do the second live stream. All right? Because I want you to be blessed. So what you hear have heard already, you can share it, like and subscribe, because I'm coming back for you to hear what happens in another situation. Miracle after miracle. Because after all of this, then I want to get into some other good stuff too. But I'm trying my first lives. I want you to know who I am and why I am the way I am and why I believe the way I believe. So I just want you to hear the testimony, to know how good God is and how much when you have a relationship with Him, He'll let you know that He got your back and you're healed and you're delivered and you are, and it's like He, when He has that host of angels encamped about you, surrounding you, they in there doing stuff you don't even know that they're doing on your behalf. But come back with me in a few minutes. I'm going to do my part two. If you've never seen a miracle, just look at me. Real talk. Let's talk about it with Robin Lapsley. Robin Leah Lapsley. My mama gave me that name. So I'll be right back. God bless you. Stay tuned.